What's up, everybody? Alright, today I want to talk about something that is very important for me and that is very important for you too, because today's video is going to help you to understand native speakers. It's going to help you to understand fast speeches, because many times native speakers sound like you're speaking really fast, especially in movies, especially in TV shows, especially Monica.
Phoebe, don't look now, but behind you there's a guy who has the potential to break our hearts and plunge us into a pit of depression.
And also, it's going to help you to speak faster. It's going to help you to speak easily. It's going to help you to sound more like a native speaker, if that makes sense. And that's why I'm just so excited for this video. And also at the same time, I enjoyed making this video so much. There's many different scenes from friends, from the office and some of the talk shows and YouTubers. The thing that I want to talk about in this video is anti. Okay, anti. So, okay, what is anti? What are you talking about? Before I get to explain what anti is, I just want to tell you my story because I don't want to explain this in a formal way, When I first started learning this, like with friends, with the first episode of Friends, as you guys know, if you watch my other videos, you know my learning English process. When I first started learning this, there was this scene I remember vividly because I was focused on this scene so much. There was this scene where Rachel was on the phone talking to her dad and saying that,
"Daddy, listen to me.
Listen to me. I was like, what? I mean, what? What did you just say? What did you just say? I don't get it. I was replaying the scene again and again in order to understand what, Rachel was saying, because Rachel was saying, listen to me. Normally I would say, 4 years ago I used to say, listen to me, because that's the only version I knew.
Listen to me.
But Rachel was saying that,
Listen to me."
and then I realized, kept coming across these different words that have anti in it. For instance, interview. Normally we say interview, right? Now I used to say interview, but I just realized that they say interview. They say interview, but sometimes they say interview.
We have more interviews.
Oh, right, your adoption interview.
So basically, I realized that when you see this anti in the middle of the word, you can always say, instead of saying like interview, you can say interview. International, international. Interruption, interruption.
We have no interruptions, and we could be naked the entire time.
Dentist, dentist. Center, center. Fantasy, fantasy.
You could get to live out my fantasy.
You've had fantasies about Emily?
Fantasy type things?
Seriously, that's your fantasy? To invest it?
Interfere, interfere.
Think I may have let my feelings for Charlie interfere with the interview process.
Hunting, hunting.
She wants to go hunting too.
Winter, winter. Intimacy, intimacy.
Intimacy.
Santa, Santa.
Kind of like Santa. Santa doesn't poop on the plate of cookies.
Owen doesn't know he's adopted, and he also thinks Santa is real.
He isn't?
Ah, yes, the plan. Ho, ho, ho.
It's not Santa's plan.
Okay, Ben, why don't you come open some more presents? And Santa, the armadillo, and I...
Santa, as you can see here, Monica said Santa. This time Monica says, instead of saying Santa, she says Santa.
There's a sentence I never thought I'd
Okay,
say.
that's a really great example. I really like this example. As you can see, guys, for instance, when I heard that, I was like, oh gosh, Monica said this so fast. What did you say? What did you say?
There's a sentence I never thought I'd say.
And instead of saying sentence, she says sentence. Sentence, sentence. Look at that.
There's a sentence I never thought I'd say.
There's a sentence that I never thought I'd say.
I'd take you out for a romantic night.
Romantic, romantic.
It was so romantic.
Romantic.
Coney Island, Rockefeller
Center.
Travel documents are on the counter.
On the counter, okay, you can say counter, but at the same time, you might come across the version of counter.
How drunk are you?
Drunk enough that I know I want to do this. Not so drunk that you should feel guilty about taking advantage.
Taking advantage. Advantage, advantage.
I just don't feel it would be right. I feel like I'd be, taking advantage of you.
But taking advantage? I am giving you the advantage. Enjoy.
Advantage, enjoy. For instance, Rachel says here, taking advantage, not advantage. And Ross says advantage. We see two different versions of this word. Taking advantage, taking advantage. Advantage, advantage. Also, another thing that one of the main reasons that really struggle with understanding native speakers and also struggle with speaking fast is because, for instance, You've seen me probably many times say that I'm trying to tell you. Not saying like I'm trying to tell you, I'm saying I'm trying to tell you. Instead of saying like I'm trying to tell you, I can say I'm trying to tell you. Or, you know, what's happening to you? You know, what's happening to you, man? What's happening to you? Are you okay? So instead of saying like what happened to you, you can say what's happening to you.
I mean, that was really embarrassing what happened to you.
What happened to you? That was really embarrassing. What happened to you? Instead of saying happened to you, happened to you.
Well, what happened to your girlfriend?
What happened to your girlfriend? What happened to your girlfriends? And honestly, that's one of the main reasons. That's one of the main reasons why we struggle with understanding native speakers, or we struggle with speaking fast.
You happen to tell Phoebe yet?
Okay, did you happen to tell Phoebe? Happen to tell. Happen to tell. Happen to tell. But instead of saying like happen to tell, we say, you know, they say happen to tell. Happen to tell.
Two friends who happen to be roommates.
Happen to be roommates. And that's why sometimes we're like, oh gosh, they speak so fast, I can't catch it. I can't catch it. They speak so fast, I don't get it. I miss some of the words.
We just don't happen to know any women.
Happen to know, like happen to know, instead of saying like happen to know, happen to know.
You listen to me.
You listen to me. You listen to me. Not listen to me.
Don't listen to him. He's in a really bad mood.
Please listen to me.
You listen to me. You listen good.
You listen to me. You are not to tell me what to do.
I'm not talking to you. You broke my phone.
I'm not talking to you. Like, I'm not talking to you. Do you hear that? You can say I'm not talking to you, or you can say I'm not talking to you.
And you wouldn't mind if he was dating someone else.
Why? Is he? He is, isn't he?
Is he? He is, isn't he? Isn't he? I really like that because isn't he? You know, isn't he? Saying isn't he harder? For instance, you know, doesn't he? Isn't he? Or wouldn't he?
He is, isn't he? No, he's not. Is he?
Still not what you want.
Oh?
Yeah, he got all weird and sputtery, and then he said, yeah, I hear those hemorrhoids are a bitch.
He sounds swell.
Doesn't he?
For instance, you know, painting.
And a painting of some creepy clowns that is apparently crucial to the structural integrity of the building.
Atlantic City.
Basically, I want to do something nice for my employees. Atlantic City.
I met him a couple years ago. We were traveling to the Toronto Film Festival.
Toronto.
No, Count Rushmore. Yeah, then who's the guy that painted the faces on the mountain?
Mountain. We're gonna look at some of the scenes from YouTubers, okay? Because, you know, we're not just learning English with, you know, TV shows, but also learning English with YouTubers.
I've been moving things from upstairs to downstairs, some things into my mom's car.
Okay, I barely hear that. From upstairs to downstairs.
Upstairs to downstairs,
something into my mom's car. She says, instead of saying like something's into my mom's car, she says something into my mom's car.
Into my mom's car.
When I first heard this, I was like, what did you say? And I was like, I mean, you know, alright. I'm so used to hear this word, you know, as a into, and I was like expecting to hear into, but I heard inner, and I was like, what? And then I realized that, okay, she says inner. When I first heard that, I didn't get it.
I took a little break, ate some food, had an awkward encounter with someone who lives in my apartment building.
So instead of saying encounter, she says encounter. This was another example, guys, from Canada. Now, let's see. Examples from Canada.
Je comprends un peu le français. Means I understand a little French. Any French people, please don't be mean to me.
Please don't be mean to me. Please don't be mean to me. Alright. Mean to me. Instead of saying mean to me, mean to me. If you expect to hear it as a mean to me, if you don't expect to hear like
French people, please don't be mean to me.
You're gonna be like surprised. You're gonna be surprised when you hear that. When you see that, you're gonna be like, what? What's going on? What did you say?
Don't be mean to me.
And then you're gonna realize that, you know, instead of saying mean to me, you can always say mean to me. You know, because that happened to me, you know, that happened to me, like, I was like, okay, you know, mean to me, mean to me.
So, introduction.
So, introduction, instead of saying introduction.
My other issue is I'm very sentimental.
I'm very sentimental. There are two N's in this word. Sentimental, you know? Instead of saying sentimental, you can say sentimental. For instance, you know, instead of saying accidentally, you can say accidentally.
I always like the weird alley back way because the less social interaction, the better.
Interaction.
Today, I'm just going to ask for the order of whoever's ordering in front of me.
In front of me, instead of saying in front of me, do you see that? How they speak, you know? For instance, you know, when you say mean to me, instead of saying mean to me, you speak fast. When you say in front of me, instead of saying in front of me, you speak fast. I remember working so hard with this video script, you know? Because, you know, as you guys know, I get the scripts and I work with them anyways. So, okay, another example here.
It's so weird, like, what we take for granted.
What we take for granted.
I was so insecure about where I was, so I felt like I was always having to prove.
I felt like I was always having to prove. Having to prove, okay? Instead of saying having to prove, she says having to prove. Having to prove. Having to prove, okay?
Having the approach that no one's had. Trying to write something no one's written.
See, that's why I'm still bad at it, because that's what I was trying to do.
That's what I was trying to do. Instead of saying I was trying to do, that's what I was trying to do.
I think all I would say is just like, enjoy this. Don't take anything for granted.
Don't take anything for granted, alright? If you ever watch How I Met Your Mother, you know those famous interventions?
What the?
Barney, this is an intervention.
Interventions are supposed to help people, not attack every little thing you don't like about them.
Intervention banner? What's that for?
This is an intervention. Yeah, who called this intervention? It's an intervention.
This intervention isn't for me. It's for you. This is an intervention.
No, only the person getting the intervention sits down. Yeah.
Okay guys, that's all guys. That's all the examples I can give you guys. I mean, there's a ton of examples. There's a ton of more examples that you can come across in your life. So basically, my point is, the point of this video, whenever you come across a word that has "nt" in it, you can pronounce it, you can say it in two different ways. And both ways are correct. So basically, that's slightly one of the reasons that native speakers sound like speaking really fast, and sometimes we struggle with speaking fast. It's always easier to say like "happen to me" instead of saying like "happen to me." If you happen to come across those words, just don't be surprised, okay? I hope you enjoyed this video, so yeah. Okay, I'll see you next week in the next video. Bye! Why do I always say bye like this?
I think I may have let my feelings for Charlie interfere with the interview process.
Intimacy.
I barely hear that.
Je comprends un peu le français. Means I understand a little French. Any French people, please don't be mean to me.
Please don't be mean to me.
Painting of some creepy clowns that is apparently crucial to the structural integrity of the building.
My other issue is I'm very sentimental.
Don't take anything for granted.
This is an intervention.
Interventions are supposed to help people, not attack every little thing you don't like about them.